Yo, welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Concert app. The Concert app is an artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives the fan the best experience in independent live music. Now, today, what we're going to talk about is a question I got asked. They basically said, well, they're asking about rap, but then music in general, we can say, is there an age limit to be a musician? And now, what I would say is, of course, no. Um, a lot of times I feel like this deals with more hip hop than any other genre, and I feel there is a reason why that works like that. But let's just say, a lot of these other genres champion like people until like watch them perform until dude be 90 on stage, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then, but in hip hop, they act like it's like weird. And I do feel like that's a, you know what I'm saying, what some people would say a conspiracy, because I just believe that there's something there. But however, we'll just not talk like that today. We'll talk in the form of, just real, like, kind of like facts, kind of factual. And see, the person who asked me is an older gentleman starting to rap. And uh, I think he's in his I think he's in his 40s, and he's just starting to get in the game. Like, he always rapped like for fun, but now he wants to kind of take it a little serious. And I told him, I said, "Hey, do what you do. Do what you do. You know, this is the only world where people have a problem outside of sports. This is the only place where people actually have a problem that they look down on you for it. And see, the thing is, older people would be able to play sports if your body could keep up at that age. But then this is the only thing that has nothing to do with physical, like, I guess, a physical situation, that people actually look down on you if you start late. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Even when people go to school, like go to schools at an older age and go back and get their degree, people are like, "Oh my God, you went and got it," and they're happy for you. But then when you say you're going to be a rapper, but then let's talk about why people feel this way. You know what I'm saying? Because I always look at the logic of why people say this. Now, the first part of this whole reasoning of this, especially with hip hop, is the media. The media portrays a certain idea to you, that the concepts that are used in the majority of material that hip hop artists put out aren't concepts that someone older would think about. And I even heard this with Andre 3000 when he was like, "What am I going to rap about?" Now, I respect Andre 3000, one of the best ever. And he may feel like that. He may feel like that. But let's look at this logically. Let's say the things that are in music, let's say that are in rap, a lot of lyrics. Let's say let's say the sexual side of hip hop. Is there an age on the sexual, like sexual anything? Like, if you watch a movie right now, are there any sex scenes with people over 40? And you're gonna probably, you have to answer yes, because there are. Um, do any of the things sexual in this world actually stop people at an age? For instance, strip clubs, anything online, anything, they don't actually stop at age. They start at an age, but they don't stop at an age. So that idea of that concept being age, like having an age range, exists. Let's say uh gangsters. Let's say gangster rap. Um, I'm pretty for sure like John Gotti and them weren't 20. Like, let's just be real about this. If they let's actually look that up. Let's actually look that up. Let's see. John Gotti. Um, he was born in 1940. Um, let's see. He was still on the streets. Let's see. John Gotti died in 2002. Um, if he was born in 40 and he went to jail in 90, well, for the final time, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, that means he was 50. So that means gangsters in general, the idea of like a lot of gangsters, let's see, that doesn't have an age because you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't actually say that to John Gotti, and you wouldn't say that to the mob. You wouldn't say that if they had songs about it. You wouldn't say that. So why do people say it in this genre? Then you can say love songs, which of course love songs reach at every age. So then you're there with that. Then you could say you could possibly just leave it up to maybe like the nightlife songs. You could be like, yeah, maybe nightlife doesn't have as many people out and about. Because even I seen one person write on it like, man, he should start a family. Why is he talking like that? Half these dudes start families at like 20. So then the logic of this, or younger, like what's the logic of this? What's the logic? And then you see, I'm low key retired. So then, but then I decided to not really do this, like to not constantly like force what I'm doing. Like I come outside because people want to see me every once in a while. So you know what I'm saying? But if I wanted to go hard, I'd go hard right now. Like, okay, so that's how the media portrays things. Now let's look at this from the label side, because the labels do it too. In the hip hop world, the labels have to always stay fresh with new things. Because just think, if you had to pay people what they were worth at as they got older, if you had to start paying just like regular jobs, like people who are more knowledgeable of the job and can actually do it, a lot of times they become CEOs and stuff like that. Just think if you had to stay with some of these rappers that keep having hits, and then you have to pay them what they're worth, instead of making them forcibly drop off the label at some point and not being as successful, you because you're putting out tons of money per time they come out. So if you ever look at like a dope rapper, like right when he pops, like 50 Cent or DMX or somebody like that, when they do their first like two albums and it go like blows everybody out the water, that third album you have to pay way more for. If they get out of contract and let's say they're in for 4 or 5 albums, if you wanted to keep them around, you have to pay them more. It's actually easier to go find the new kid and pay him less. So this is just logically right here. You know what I'm saying? That you can do this. In other genres, it's not as bad. Rock is kind of bad like that. Like rock kind of does it. But I think country has a more I guess you can say situation where it's less of them, but they make so much money in the genre that it's spread out differently versus how many rappers you always have all the time. Like there's always new rappers coming out like that. Like country has more of a control around it because you have to, like a lot of times they have ways to get famous like through Nashville and stuff like that. So you have to kind of go through the rankings that already kind of exist like a system. But with hip hop, it's always new people all the time, all the time. The other piece is the risk why people put the age on it, because then you can say, oh, well, he's 40 and he's risking himself in the music business. Now, the music business, of course, is risky. As we always say, it's 30 million artists in the world, and I mean, the United States, less than 1% of them actually make over $40,000 a year. So then you are putting yourself at risk by doing something that may not be good for your time, and if you have a family or whatever like that and you have to feed them. Now see, where this gentleman that I was talking to is coming from is um he had a situation where he's kind of like retired from his other job for a certain situation, and he got some money and now he wants to do like his dream. So he already has a supplemented income there, and then he's going to go do this. So then really he didn't have any risk. But then I feel that risk exists everywhere, because even in your 20s, a lot of people start families in 20s. So then how are 20-year-old rappers doing it? You know what I'm saying? They're taking the same risk. You know, even when you jump into entrepreneurship or building a business, you're doing you're taking a heavy risk because there's a chance you don't make any money. So it's like all this is risk. It's just debative of what you're doing it for. Now, where I'd like to take this with the idea of being in in an older artist, the good side of being an older artist is a lot of the like the you won't be tricked as much a lot of times because you've been through the ringer with other jobs and you've had situations like you probably understand more about contracts because you've dealt with a lot of it. You don't have the young naiveness of it, so you don't get caught in that. Then you also have the space of hopefully at if you've made it to an older age, your forms of addictions aren't as strong as they would have been when you were younger. So then you're probably more focused than an actual artist that's a younger artist. Um, on top of that, I'd say you probably could conduct if because of that you probably could conduct better business than a lot of the younger artists. So it's a lot of you know what I'm saying. It's both sides to this if you look at it, and I just personally don't feel there's an age to it because logically it doesn't make sense to put an age or cap an age on it. And then I watch all these like older country artists and a lot of older rock artists, and they're still going hard. But then if you ever pay attention to this, and this is why I say like the media covers it, but they don't really say nothing about it. Like they don't keep you. They don't never push this narrative because of course they don't want this narrative. Go look at how many of the young artists' shows have been canceled. And this is no shot at the young artists. This is just reality of the world. 50 Cent had one of the biggest tours this year. 50 Cent is, I think, born in 75. He's almost 50. 50, almost 50. Look at some of these artists that are having some of the most amazing tours currently. Look at the Vegas thing with Usher. Um, these shows are packed out and sold out every night. And some of the dudes with the top, which I won't say any names, but I've talked to labels all the time. Some of the dudes with the top streams currently right now, some of the top in the world, can't put 5,000 people in the building. This is a lot. Now, is this an age thing? There, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you make timeless music, if you make good music, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I can even put myself in a situation to say, as I put on my page the other day, like in my state, I've done 1,000 person venues since 2008. There's not many artists, if any, in the hip hop genre here that do it that consistent or do it at all. So 1,000 person venue for 1,000 people venues to be excited for you to like to want you to do it multiple times. They're knowing that you're at least putting 400 or more usually in the venue. You're gonna have like 400 something tickets at least in the venue. So you're like pulling up one half. That's the one they at least want. And so when you're looking at people who are bringing numbers like that, like you then have to delete the age thing. You see what I'm saying? Like because I was doing it when I was young, I still do it now when I do come outside, but that deletes anything of age because when I was young I do it. And so it isn't like, hey, he had all this wisdom and that's why he knows how to do it. No, because when I was young, I'd do it. I didn't have all the wisdom then. It was just dope music. And when I'm old, I'll still go do it again. And so I think people really need to delete that age idea. Do what you want to do. Live how you want to live. The people who are going to judge you on the age, they're not your fan anyway. But at the end of the day, good music, young or old. Because I know tons of young dudes is dope and can do numbers. And of course, when they get old, they'll probably be able to do numbers too if they keep the grind up. You know, so it didn't no age thing to it. And then there's dudes that probably will come in here older, and just knock it out of the park with some good music. You know what I'm saying? Come in here and just knock it out in the park, and then they become the main event. So hey, I don't believe there's an age to this music thing. So that's my answer to that question. Once again, this music is Day Job. I'm your host, Sean. It's brought to you by the Concert app. Now, the first thing I need you to go do is I need you to go like, comment, and definitely subscribe to this channel so we can get this popping, so we can teach people all over the world about the Concert app and how they can make music into a day job. On the other end, as far as the Concert app, we are now in Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and we're about to move into New Mexico, California, Texas, and Michigan. Now, if you're not on that list, you should get tons of artists to start getting on the app so we can see it. So then that shows the demand so we can get out there. If you know any venues in those places, let me know, because that's the quickest way I can start getting out there and moving. If you're in the states that I said, definitely get on the app, start looking at the shows as they pop up, and start getting on the shows as they come. Some of those states I'm still coming out to do a Q2 conference. So then if you see the conference pop up, jump on there. I'd love to meet all you guys and everything like that. So when I get out there, I can talk to you, and then we can talk about all this. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about getting things running and helping people build their career. So definitely do that. Once again, this music is a day job. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm your host, Sean, and this is brought to you by the Concert app.